G'day guys, Chris the Ultimate Recycler here. Welcome back to the channel, back to my shed. It's a chilly day outside, I've got the fire going. We've got to organise some more space in here. Now I made some room recently in a video a while back about getting a lawnmower through. I still haven't actually got it onto my bench to service it. That will be coming soon. I do need to sort out some more of these frames, so I thought let's do a quick video on what I'm going to do. I've made some very tough decisions. A lot of this stuff will be moving very quickly thanks to some of your comments in the last video. You were pretty tough on me saying don't muck around putting mirrors in them, take them to the shop and sell them. Well, I've done a bit of a time trial and I think you're right. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, here's a couple of frames I pulled out last time and said, oh, they'll be good to put mirrors in. I'll put them aside. And look at that, I've put a mirror in this one. It's a fairly heavy piece of mirror that I had out the back. I've got more of them. And I've just basically cut it to size. Relatively easy to cut. You do have to kind of clean up the little burrs and sharp bits. And sometimes you've got to trim it up with pliers. Push some nails in to hold it steady. And that's great. But I didn't get around to putting a chain on it. I'll sell that like it is. Someone can do that because I don't know which way they'd actually like to hang it, portrait or landscape. But it looks good. However, it took me about an hour, and that's not even counting time to find my glass cutter and clean the bench off so I had a bit of room. The glass or the mirror itself has to be warmed, cleaned properly and warmed for it to cut. So a bit over an hour. I could probably get at least $10, maybe a little bit more for that frame, and I could have got the same for that frame very quickly. What can I sell that for? Well, I'm thinking probably only about $40 realistically. Someone has to put a chain on the back. So therefore, there's $30 difference for about an hour. I don't have time to muck around at the moment. I think I'm just going to sell all these frames cheap. You guys were right. Of course you're saying, of course we were right. Why don't you listen to us? I wanted to do one anyway. I had a nice big piece of mirror to use up. I've got another piece that I could cut for that one, but it's not as enjoyable as other jobs I want to do. So there we go. I've decided that none of the frames will be kept here for projects. All of these, I've dragged a few out of the cupboard. There's a lot of backing boards that I've kept for framing up prints and more frames there. And there's more in the cupboard. We'll drag them out shortly. I'm not going to waste my time framing up things. I've got enough to do. It certainly is an option if you're into it as a hobby. I've got to really look for getting good value for my time. And I don't enjoy it that much, so right, they're all going. However, there is an exception. We found this early map of Victoria. It was around about 1900, and it's rolled up, well, it has been rolled up. It's quite tatty around the edges, and it does need some sort of protection, and, you know, to sell it, it really should be displayed. And I thought if I can find a frame for that, it'd probably be worth the time putting that in the frame, if nothing else but to save a bit of history. I didn't have any frames large enough, but we walked Coco around the block here and we walked past this large modern print for probably about 3 or 4 days in a row before I thought, hey, that might actually be ideal for that map. So it's not actually glass, it's actually a thin sheet of acrylic or perspex. It's a very light, flimsy frame. It has got a decent board on the back. Because it was out in the, well, it wasn't raining at the time, but it did get a bit of moisture in from the wet grass. But I reckon at least it'll be a way of protecting that map, and hopefully, hopefully we can sell it and cover a bit of my time to do it. It's a little larger, so we might have to cut the frame down. Okay, it's a bit hard to show you without the reflection, but width-wise, it's pretty good. I can use part of the old print, the white border of it, to kind of cover the edges a little bit perhaps, or maybe I'll just stick it straight in the front like that. It doesn't matter if it's showing the tattiness. However, the frame, whoops, it's going to roll up on itself. The frame's a little bit tall, so I think I'm going to actually try and cut the frame down. First thing, I've got to pull the back off it and the old print out and the piece of acrylic, and then we'll see if we can just cut that frame down by about 3 or 4 inches maybe. It had some beads of silicone around the edge which I've cut out, and it's got little staples in here. Certainly very cheaply made, but I can lever these staples out and then I can remove the back. Now the frame possibly isn't even real timber. It's held together with some corner angle brackets that are just pressed in. The top section, hopefully they come out clean enough. Top section will be beveled okay. I've just got to change the bevel to down here to give me roughly the height I need. I probably should have measured it before I rolled the map up again. Anyway, we'll get it apart and work that out when we get to it. Okay, I think I've got all the staples out now, and looks like the silicon's all been cut away, so that's good. And the print is just that, so it doesn't have a separate mat. It's just a print, and you can see it's a bit wrinkly from being damp. And if we're cutting a bit off the top, we should be able to get rid of that water stain actually. And I might just leave, I don't know, we'll just cut this side. If there's a strip of blue around the top of the map, obviously we've got to cut it off the roller that the map's onto. We'll see what we can use. I guess I could always turn it upside down and then we've got a totally white surround. That's probably a better way of doing it. And the acrylic is actually quite thin, and we're obviously going to have to cut that down to size once we get the frame right. We have plenty at the top of the map, so rather than pull the tacks out, I'll just cut along the edge of the dowel. So it looks like it's some sort of canvas. There we go. I think this was from a school. I think it's got the spring here so that they could pull it down and put it up like a blind. Nothing like using TV remotes for weights. Okay, I think we'll just mark the frame around about here. And it doesn't need to be super accurate because I'm just going to put this on top of a white background, and it shows all the tattiness, which is kind of gives it a bit of character. It gives a bit of authenticity that it is an original old map. Okay, I'll mark this and I'll cut some 45-degree bevels to match the top, and then we'll have to take that frame apart. Okay, we can do our 45 here, and I'm only really guessing just to allow a bit of space above the map, or this is below in this situation. As I said, it really doesn't matter, but I will need to get that 45 on the other side, the same distance down to keep our frame square. Okay, we'll measure this one. Did we get a roughly around, oh, look at that, 100 mil precisely. How did I know? So we'll mark 100 mil down this side and do our angle. And it is the right way. Okay, now I might try and cut them before I take the corner apart, just to give it a bit of stability. Okay, with that section cut off, the corners were held in by these angle brackets that pushed right in, and it's not real timber, it's like an MDF covered by a vinyl, like a contact, so very cheap. But unfortunately the brackets took a little bit of material out. Still, it shouldn't be a problem. I've got these corner clamps, so I will clamp it like that. I'll put some glue in there and I'll put a couple of nails just in from one end. I'm not really worried about the nail heads showing. We're not doing a perfect restoration job. It's more or less a frame to preserve the map. So I'll glue and leave these clamped overnight and put a couple of nails in them, and we'll get back to this one tomorrow. While I've had my glass cutters out, I just cut down a little square mirror to go in this kit that we found the other day. So I've just sanded the edges with some emery so it's not sharp. And that fits pretty well in there. Possibly used to have little metal corners on it. But yeah, thanks to all you guys for reminding me or suggesting that a mirror went in there. The only thing this kit is missing is probably some shaving lather brushes. But everything else is good. So that can go back to the shop now that it's much more complete. I think we went for $40 on that one. Let's go through the rest of this cupboard now. Coco's checking it out to make sure there's nothing nasty in there or nothing tasty. The box has a lot of smaller frames in. We'll get that onto the bench shortly. We'll just flick through them and see what there is in there. This is the stuff that was all standing up, so I'll put the camera in the tripod and we'll have a quick look at them. Now this one you saw the other day has the curved glass, the convex glass frame, glass, and it's a really nice older frame with plaster mouldings in great condition. So I think I'd probably get $30 for that. These are the sort that often hung in people's hallways and had, you know, family portraits and that sort of stuff in. So that's a nice one with the curved glass, so I'll get $30 for that. but I think a lot of the others are just going to be cheapies. I'll just want to pass them on. There's another one that would have perhaps held a portrait. There was 2 of those, but the other one was quite damaged, so I'll just break it up for the timber. They are real timber, but maybe that might be in the $5 pile. This one has an original painting too, by no one famous, but it's a reasonable frame, and sometimes artists buy these just to frame their own stuff. It's got a nice mat around it, or if someone likes cats, well, maybe we'll make that 10, because we've got some other original paintings at the shop that are 10. You're getting a lot of reflection on these ones, sorry. Here's just a print with the glass again, pretty good frame, probably 5 for that one. Another one, we'll make that 5. There's a couple of nice frames here. They don't have glass with them. They're not super old, but they're quite decorative. So again, I think I'll just have one stack of all $5 prints. That one's just a 5. That's just a plain frame with glass again. This is one of those ones that you put all your family photos in, has the glass. Another fairly heavy frame here with the glass. So these will all be 5. You saw this one the other day. It has got the glass, but it's broken, but it is non-reflective glass and an original artwork. It can go in the 5 pile as well. I actually have another original painting here just on board, and I've still got some from that garage sale place I cleaned out, so we'll add that today. I think they're only $3 each. It's quite a nice painting. Someone spent a lot of time doing that. But I don't want these things floating around for long. There's another plain looking frame with the glass in it. This is an older one. There's no glass in this one. It probably would look nice with a mirror in it, but I'm just not going to sit down and start cutting glass and mirrors, and then you've got to put a wire on the back to hang it, although I'm not going to on a larger one. We might put 10 on that because it is an older frame. All right, I'll get these off the bench and we'll grab that box. Okay, let's see what we've got in this box. Some of these aren't going to be worth much, but as said, I think we'll put $5 each on all of the frames, some of them which include prints, and the customers can decide what's worth 5 and what isn't. Oops. Okay, we have a spare piece of glass there. Nice little metal frame. Oh, that's the backing as well. That would probably look good with a nice old photo in it, but I don't think I'm going to bother. I think I just want to move them all on. There's another older frame with decorative corners. It's not in bad condition. Oh, that probably goes with it. Another nice frame. Might have a use for that one. I'll get back to you on that. Okay, some of these are... Oh, there's another photo one. That's a fairly plain timber one. That has non-reflective glass in it too. Okay, I'm not sure about that artwork. Is that a sunspot? Oh, actually that would be better for what I have in mind, although I don't have glass on that one. All right. I do have something on a frame I'll show you later. That's an older style one, but I think that's just resin or... Yeah, I think it's fairly modern. That's a much older one. That's a nice one, actually. So that, again, that would look nice with a mirror in it, but someone else can do that. There's another old oak frame, probably 1920s, that one. A more vintage one there. We have some smaller ones with the backing boards. What's this one in bubble wrap for? Maybe just to hold it together. So that's non-reflective glass in that one too. Gold frame, I've got a lot in here. Okay, there's a really old one with, that looks like some sort of original, or a lithograph or an etching. South Yarra. Unfortunately, it's a bit water damaged. I might have to do a bit of checking on that one. Yeah, it hasn't been stored in very good conditions, but the contents of that frame could be worth more than just $5. Okay, some very modern, just decorator type frames. Our stack's getting pretty high here. There's an old wedding photo in a frame that hasn't got glass, given to someone in 1982. And another older timber frame. That's all that's in the box. So most of these will go to the shop at $5 each, and hopefully we can clear them out. I've just turned the ring light off so we can get a better look at this without the reflections. This is a 1930s etching, and it's a limited one. In fact, it's quite low, the number, and it's a very limited run. I think it says 9 of 20. So that's an extremely short run. It's I forget what the name of the place was, something Hall, Merton, I can't remember. I did have a look online, which is I think it was a girls' grammar school building done by Victor Cobb in 1935. The building is in South Yarra in Melbourne, and this side it is hand signed in pencil by Victor Cobb. Would have been quite a valuable piece in good condition. It is very rough, it is badly water stained, and it does need restoration. It's a great piece of early art, and in good condition, I believe it's probably would be worth $300 to $500 in around about that bracket, based on what AI could find online. But the restoration of something like this would cost you nearly that to get done. So really it makes it almost worthless. Unfortunately, it's a great piece of history. Early Melbourne building, an etching that's almost 100 years old by quite a famous artist, I believe. So what are we going to do with that? I think we'll take it to the shop and we might just put something like $20 on it. Someone may actually be able to restore it themselves. They would need to know what they're doing. I'm certainly not going to tackle it. The water staining has quite badly damaged and stained the paper, and I think it's an acid issue. But the image is still quite good, so I'm not sure how they would go about fixing that. It's a shame that it got damaged, but I'm going to pass it off for $20. And if any of you guys are interested, let me know, although I won't be that keen to post it because the glass would surely not survive Australia's postal service, and I don't really want to take it out, so I guess it's only really available to people that can pick up. Anyway, I'm going to put $20 on it. I fixed up a few of these little frames so that they stayed together. They might be worth $10 each. And the thing I was looking to frame is this. There's Coco. This is a painting by a friend of Mum's. He does a great job. I think Bob is 89, and that's a pretty good representation of Coco. I think he's got the eyes brilliantly. So we'll whack that in a frame somewhere and hang it up in the house. Oh, the other thing I did was found a piece of glass for this wedding photo and put that together. So I think that's worth more than $5. Looks maybe 50s. The frame certainly seems to be about 50s. It has got a mark on the photo from when it was sitting without glass in it. And the fact that I didn't find a suitable frame for Coco demonstrates that saving heaps and heaps of frames, thinking they'll be all really useful one day, is a bad idea. It just takes up a lot of space, and when you actually have something to frame like Coco or like the map, chances are you don't even have a frame that's going to be suitable. So that's why I've decided to get rid of them all. I'll keep looking for something, probably just a certificate or document frame would do that. So there we go. That's got rid of a whole stash of frames from my shed, and it has freed up a cupboard which has a shelf in the bottom. I think, yeah, it's got the things on the side, so I can lift that shelf up. And I'm not sure if I'll keep this in the shed long term, but at this stage I think it'll be a great spot to put all my Makita tools, out of the road, easy to access, and it will just free up some of the space around the workshop. I also have under this bench over here. Look at all the mess. There is stacks of frames under there, so we'll get rid of those too. We'll do that another day. And there's another pile in another part of the shed. So I'm pleased I've made that decision. Thank you guys for helping me decide by saying don't waste time putting mirrors in them. Take them all to the shop. And when this one is ready to put together, I'll show you how we go there with the map in it. We'll do that tomorrow morning. And here's the map all framed up. It actually looks pretty good. I'm filming this outside because we had too much reflection from the fluoro lights in the shed. It's good. There's a little bit of a fold over there that I missed when I was framing it, but that all just goes to show that it's an original map, and now it's preserved pretty well. Even though it's not behind glass, it's behind acrylic. At least it will keep it safe, and it's nice and flat, easy to read. I think we'll probably try and get $50 for that, given that it's a genuine circa 1900 map of Victoria, mostly complete. As I said, the bottom had been trimmed off by someone one other time, but I think that looks good. So for a frame that we found alongside the road, someone had just put out for free, and even though it had got wet, it still proved worthwhile for me to pick up. It wasn't hard to cut things down. You saw how I cut the frame. The joins aren't fantastic, but they're good enough and it's stable, and I can now present it in the shop. I found a couple of other pieces just before I put my glass cutter away, and I actually cut a piece of glass for this certificate, which didn't have one in it. It's the original frame, and I had to put some new nails, well, just put some nails in to hold it together. But this certificate's rather interesting. It's the Young Gardeners League, and it's actually dated 1916, and it interestingly says, where was it? Oh, up here, the Juvenile War Relief Gardeners League. So 1916 was World War I. So obviously a bit of support for the Australian war effort. And it's branch number 1746. How do you say that? Benambra. And I think Benambra is up in the high country in Victoria near Omeo. Probably only a very small town. I'm not even sure if it's still a town. I presume it is. I've never been there. But yeah, December 8th, 1916. Great little certificate. I'm going to probably put about $30 on that. I probably really should go back to the town, but it's not somewhere I go. Hopefully someone buys it from the shop and does take it back to the town as part of their history. But I'm glad I was able to put a bit of glass in there. It'll keep it safe. The other piece I found, I decided not to cut a piece of glass for. This is missing the glass. I kind of didn't want to pull out the really old nails and everything. I wanted to leave it original on the back. Now, it's a real photograph, and you can see by that silvery sheen, it's a genuine darkroom developed photograph. So it's not a print, it's mounted on paper. The paper is a little bit water stained. It probably does need remounting to protect it. It's signed Edward Cranstone, and a quick Google tells me that he was quite a renowned and famous photographer, and that's likely to be somewhere in Western Victoria or even possibly South Australia around the Flinders Ranges. My research indicates that that photograph could indeed be many hundreds of dollars. Some of his stuff I saw advertised fairly expensive. I don't know who buys this sort of stuff, but it is a genuine original early photo, probably from the maybe 1940s, looking at the frame, maybe a little bit earlier. And it should be professionally restored and remounted. I'm going to just put it in a plastic bag just to keep it sort of dry and make sure it can't get too much moisture or anything on it. It's been stored in a shed, so it's done well to survive this long. And I'm probably going to put $100 on it in the shop, or if any of you guys have an interest in this, you'll probably recognise the value of it. I don't know if I'll get it. It's going to need the right person to buy it, but at least at least hopefully it'll be saved. I could even put it on eBay down the track. Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, I found those couple. That one I didn't do anything with, but I'm glad I found it in my shed because it hasn't been, well, it's been okay in my shed, but it really should be in a collection and possibly restored properly. And the other one might find its way back to Benambra, maybe. And so ends another adventure in my shed. Thanks for coming along, guys. We have made space here now. The cupboard's empty. I've actually put some of my Makita tools in there. I'm pleased to get all those frames processed. I've learned a few things. I'm not going to save frames and prints with the idea of putting them together and selling them and making a lot of money, because it's just not viable and it takes up so much space. And as you've seen, no matter how many frames you save up, you never have quite the right size or the right style, and it just ends up a big pile of clutter. So I'll get those other ones from under the bench at some stage. There is a few more over in the other corner, and I'll just take them all to the shop, have a nice big display of frames fairly cheaply so they all go. But I will keep a lot of the glass and the mirrors. Sometimes it'll be easy to cut a mirror. The mirror I did cut was quite a thick one and it was a bit of a hassle, but I think the thinner mirrors and the right sort of frame would be okay. And the glass, well, as you've seen, it's pretty easy just to cut a piece of glass to save something that I already have framed, so it suits, it's the right size, all that sort of stuff. It's even got a hanging, or it hasn't got the wire, but it's got the loops. And if it's just a matter of cutting a piece of glass, that adds some good value for me. So thanks for coming along. A video not in any particular series. I wasn't going to continue a series on cleaning out this shed because I've got so much else to do, but I did need to make some room to get that lawnmower through, and of course one thing carries on to another. You know how it goes. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.